Learn English from Quotes Li Ruihuan on Leadership. 202103321. The so-called leadership is relative to the masses. Leading means leading the masses, and leading means guiding the masses. Without the masses, there is no need to lead. The masses need leadership. Without leadership, the enthusiasm of the masses can neither be improved nor sustained. Leaders must have prestige, and without prestige, real leadership cannot be implemented. Power and truth are two different things. Great power does not necessarily mean that there are many truths. Being an official does not mean having a great ability, and a higher status does not mean a higher level. Status does not represent level or contribution. However, the higher the status, the greater the loss to the people if they are irresponsible and do not do practical things. Some people say that the number of people is an advantage, but this is not comprehensive and inaccurate. As far as leaders are concerned, there are too many people to be regarded as an advantage. Only when they are supported by the majority of people can they be regarded as an advantage. The role of the leader is to fully mobilize the enthusiasm of the majority and give it a reasonable display. In the final analysis, the positivity of the leader is to make more people active. If the positivity of the leader brings the people around to be inactive, the positivity is questionable, and the positivity is not as good as the inactive. The responsibility of a leader is not only to think of his own ideas, but more importantly, to gather the correct opinions of the masses and persevere, not only to have enthusiasm, but more importantly, to mobilize everyone to be positive, especially not to affect the enthusiasm of others. Without the enthusiasm of the majority, everything is impossible to talk about. Our cadres should never forget the interests of the majority, the emotions of the majority, the strength of the majority, and the consciousness of the majority. What are the criteria for judging the quality of work? It depends on whether his starting point is for the majority of people and whether he relies on the majority of people in the work process. When a policy cannot be accepted by the majority of the people, even if it is correct, we can only wait. If you insist on doing it, it will be impossible to succeed. Even if it succeeds for a while, it will definitely bring about long-term negative consequences. What is the difference between a leading cadre and an ordinary cadre? The main difference is that leading cadres must be good at understanding and solving problems comprehensively from the overall development. Generally speaking, the masses tend to pay more attention to the immediate interests of the people. The responsibility of the leader lies in being able to proceed from the overall situation, representing the fundamental interests of the masses, taking a long-term view, considering both the present and the long term, and combining the long term and the short term. In a certain sense, leadership is a comprehensive job. If you don't know how to integrate or are not good at integration, you will not be a good leader. Synthesis is not a list of phenomena, nor is it a combination of materials, but the reappearance of the organic connection of objective things in the development process. The leadership team should be well structured. A team is like a concrete structure, with steel bars, cement, sand, and aggregates. The steel bars alone cannot be compressed. Without the steel bars, the concrete will crack as soon as it is pulled, so it is necessary to make a reasonable ratio. A good team must be that you are good at this aspect. He is proficient in that aspect. Each has its own strengths and weaknesses. When combined, it becomes a good team that can do everything. Of course, there must be a more comprehensive and knowledgeable person in charge of the overall work, just like the conductor of the band. But there shouldn't be many such people. Some teams are not weak, and they are not strong when added together. The problem lies here. All chess games are rooks, and you can't go if you meet. A team is always stronger and weaker, and always has literary and military skills. An orchestra has pipe blowing and string pulling, but the conductor is one person. If a group of people conducts, it will definitely be chaotic. Our leaders often encounter two kinds of people in their work, one is to hold it along, and the other is to work with it. Generally speaking, we pay more attention to those who push forward, we often fall for those who push forward. If you don't believe me, you can think about it. It is normal for a coder to go up and down. There are ups and downs. It's like climbing a mountain. You can't just go up, you have to get down. We often say not to occupy the pit without shit. Incompetent coders are much more serious than occupying the pit without shit. If leading coders have no merits, they are demerits, and if they have no achievements, it is a problem. There must be a few insightful and outspoken people around a leader. Of course, this kind of person is hard to find, but this kind of person is very important. The reason why a smart leader is smart is not that his head is smarter than others, but that he is good at synthesis, generalizing, and absorbing more people's practical experience and wisdom. The important thing for a leader is not that he understands everything, in fact it is impossible to understand everything. Leaders' brilliance lies in enabling knowledgeable people to do their best to apply various results to decision-making. The ability is not only to mobilize the enthusiasm of the people below, but also to mobilize the enthusiasm of the peers and even the superiors. We must follow Chairman Mao's teachings to practice and to the masses, full of enthusiasm, eyes down, be a student first, then be a teacher, concentrate and disperse opinions, form correct thoughts, and then implement it among the masses, and practice inspect and improve, dissecting the sparrow, summarizing the typical, and promoting the overall situation. Relying on practice and relying on the masses is the most basic way to do all the work well, and it is also the most fundamental way to discover and cultivate talents. Hold a meeting at random, bring in a leader to speak temporarily, and say that it is an instruction and follow through. How can this be done? The lectures and articles of leading coders are not simply a matter of words, but their opinions on things, their understanding of objective laws, and their opinions on changing the world. History provides leaders with the opportunity to fully display their talents, and the actions of leaders affect the development of history, bring the gospel to mankind, or cause disasters to mankind. In the end, history will ruthlessly judge every leader. We are people in history, and we are also a period in history. We evaluate history now, and history will also evaluate us in the future. Feedback.